All right, what's going on, Crimson Tide fans? This is Jan716, aka Jan Sports, back here again, and today I want to quickly recap the Alabama versus Arkansas football game. This was a dominant victory for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I know a lot of people called this game the trap game. This could be the trap game for the Florida game. You know, that didn't happen, and I'm so glad that it didn't happen. Alabama came out, and they started off slow, but again, I think Arkansas, they're a very physical team, very scrappy football team. Arkansas, they got blown out, I think, twice this entire year. Besides that, every game has been extremely close. I mean, you can make an argument Arkansas should be a 5-6 win team right now. So I do believe that this is a better Arkansas team compared to some of the other teams that we played against earlier this year, like the Tennessees of the world, or the Mississippi States of the world. But Alabama competed the entire game. We had some very, very great. We had some really, really some great spots, some big improvements, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, unfortunately for the Alabama Crimson Tide, they did lose Christian Harris. We don't know for how long he's going to be out for. Nick Saban, he said that he's not sure. But the fact that he said that the doctors were going to have an MRI on Christian Harris. Normally, with the players you believe are going to be fine, Nick Saban just says, hey, listen, the doc checked him out. He's fine. But normally when you hear the MRI word, it's just, it's kind of bad. So it's a very, very, very high probability that he's going to be out the Florida game. I'm actually kind of expecting him to be out in the Florida game, and that's a big loss. Christian Harris has been the best linebacker on this team. I like Dylan Moses, but if we're just talking about who's been the more consistent linebacker all year, it's been Christian Harris. He's looked like he's the fastest. He's got more solo tackles than anybody else on the team. He's the person that he's the linebacker that gets in the backfield a bunch of times, gets those tackles for loss. So he's been really, really good in the running game, especially the second half of the season. So that's a big loss. Now Jalen Moody was able to come in there. He stepped up, and he was able to do the best of his ability. But he's no Christian Harris. I think Christian Harris is the better linebacker. He's athletically better. I think he knows the playbook a little bit more. Christian Harris, he's just going to be missed. He's definitely going to be missed. But next man up mentality. Jalen Moody's a 4-star linebacker for a reason. And again, he didn't disappoint, didn't play bad. And for Jalen Moody next week, again, he doesn't need to do anything too special. Just play, just do your job, do your assignment, and Alabama should be fine. But just talking about some of the good points, the defensive line was dominant today, man. Christian Barmore looked like a first-round pick out there today. This was his best game. I mean, he was getting constant pressure in the backfield, getting constant pressure on the quarterback. Again, he was overpowering their offensive linemen. He was using swim techniques and I mean, he was using everything, and he looked like a first-round pick out there today. So I couldn't be more proud of the effort that Christian Barmore had out there today. Christopher Allen had a strip sack. We was able to see Christopher Allen get pressure. William Anderson had a couple of sacks. We saw Shane Lee. He got in there late in the game, but he was able to get a sack. Timothy Smith late in the game was able to get a sack. Alabama had 8 sacks. So the fact that Alabama was able to rush for, get pressure, use these exotic blitz design packages, get pressure on the quarterback. So, we send people coming off the edge. We send our nickelbacks coming off the edge. We were still able to get pressure on the quarterback. We was able to send Malachi Moore, star, off the edge. Still got pressure on the quarterback. So, yeah, every single way you could potentially think of, Alabama was just getting constant pressure in the backfield. And that's what you need to do. Florida, they're going to primarily throw the football. They are not going – never going to rule that out. But Florida's not a football team that they're confident in their run game. They are supremely confident in their passing attack. That's the Florida Gators. That's what they're all about. So the thing for us is that we have to show signs that we can get pressure, especially if we don't even have to use blitzes. We can just use a constant a 4-man pass rush in order for us to get to the quarterback. And I definitely felt like today showed, you look at the LSU game, you look at this game, we've had back-to-back weeks now that we have showed signs that we don't even have to send blitzes in order for us to get to the quarterback. So that's a great sign for next week going against the Florida Gators in the SEC championship game. But yeah, besides that, man, I thought the secondary played really great. I thought this was Daniel Wright's best game. Again, I've been hard on Daniel Wright, and I will still be a little critical on Daniel Wright, especially next week against Florida. Because I am nervous about that Daniel Wright matchup with Kyle Pitts if he gets matched up to him in the slot, or whoever it is, whether if it's Grimes or Copeland. I am not confident at all in Daniel Wright in man-to-man coverage situations or even when it comes to zone coverage responsibilities. I'm not confident. But this was definitely his best game. I got to give Daniel Wright his props. Again, Jalen Moody, he stepped in there. I thought he did a really, really good job for what he was able to do. Our depth showed on the defensive side of the ball. And again, as far as building it up towards the SC championship game into future games, including 2021, it's a great sign. Offensively, again, Mac Jones, I know a lot of people are going to be concerned with Mac Jones's play. Listen, I got to give a lot of credit to Arkansas's defense. They were able to take away all the deep throws and force Mac Jones to throw it to the flat, throw it to his check down guys, and to pretty much throw it underneath. And that's what Arkansas did. Now, Mac Jones did a phenomenal job of staying efficient for the most part, but there was that one play where he tried to force a pass. Arkansas played some great coverage. Now, again, this is literally in the 5. This is deep in Alabama, deep in Arkansas's red zone. But Mac Jones tried to make a play, and it almost resulted in a pick 6. Thankfully, it was a targeting, and we were able to get the ball back, and Brian Robinson was able to score a touchdown. But that is something to note, that Mac Jones still has that kind of, I gotta get it to my guys. I've got to get it to my guys. So I thought that was a sign of frustration. I thought Mac Jones trying to force it was just a sign of frustration because he couldn't really get it going today as far as trying to establish those deep passes. Now, again, that's credit to Arkansas. They took it away. And maybe Florida can use that blueprint next week because if they can stop the run game and take away a lot of those deep throws and to pretty much force Mac Jones to throw it into the flat, if the Gators can go ahead and make those open field tackles and force Alabama on 3-4 yard type of gains, that could be the blueprint for the Florida Gators to contain this Alabama football team and to win against the Alabama Crimson Tide next week. So Steve Sarkisian, he's got to try to figure out a way to be a little bit more innovative, to be more creative, to kind of free these guys up. Now, again, Mechie, for the most part, had a good game. Miller Forstall, this was probably his best game as far as receiving-wise we've seen from him all season. But for the most part, this was a ground game. This was just give the ball to Najee Harris, give the ball to Brian Robinson, right? Hand the ball off to Jace McKellen, even though he came in late in the second half. But this was just a typical ground and pound type of game, game managing type of performance. This was just your typical 2009, 2010 performance. And again, you're going to win games like that. Not every game is going to be 300, 400 yards. There are going to be situations where you're going to have those game managing, those old school, run the football, throw it to your check down type of, you're going to have those games. So I'm not surprised at all that Arkansas was able to play well against Alabama in the passing game because it's gonna happen eventually. Now I think that it's happened. I think this was probably the perfect time for it to happen because then Alabama has a week to kind of figure out how they can try to free things up in order to get the passing attack going a little bit more against the Florida Gators. Overall wise, great game. 52-3. Alabama was able to dominate. I know Arkansas, they came in there, they played pretty hard. I know a lot of Alabama fans are pissed off because, Devontae Smith almost, the player tried to intentionally break his ankle, Devontae Smith's ankle. I know there was some dirty plays here and there, but that's just the game. That's football. That's just the way it is, man. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, share the video, and also subscribe. Lets me know that you guys definitely want more Alabama and more college football content in the future. Also again, YouTube's algorithm is kind of a little bit messed up. So just hitting the like button would definitely just help out this channel out, let it grow a little bit more, and hopefully more Alabama fans and more college football fans can check out my channel. So anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. Gen 716 aka Gen Sports. Have a good night. Peace.